All right, y'all. So, welcome to Beyond the Ecom podcast. This is a session where we kind of mix in several things that are encompassed within e-commerce, our relationship, other considerations, things of that sort. So, in developing a business with your partner, some of the things that have to be considered is like how the other person works and what exactly is their strong suit, what is their weakness, and like where you kind of want to fill in. So that's where we wanted to come in and talk to you guys about today.
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes down to being considerate of your other person, that is very, very, very important, because as my wife just stated, that when I'm strong in, she's not strong in, and when she's strong in, I'm definitely not strong in, not even close. So you just have to take that in consideration, other person's feelings at that, because a lot of us are still maybe working your 9 to 5, and you might not have as much time to put towards the business like you want. So definitely need to take that into consideration when you're trying to pound it down the other person's throat.
I feel like you guys are hearing and feeling a little bit of passive aggression, because like this is something that we deal with. And my husband, he's like, work. Like he can work like nobody's business. First of all, I'm not working. I don't be feeling like working. And he feels in that gap. But when he comes home, like I be expecting him to be on it. And I realized that in order for him to be on it and like providing for the family, I have to be on it in my own way. But I think it was difficult for me because I was like, I don't know, I felt really inadequate, and I kind of put it off as, well, you know, if I could say that this is like Ty's responsibility, if I could say that this is like someone else's responsibility, then it would be like an easier load for me. Like all the things that I was avoiding and doing, it's what we do now, and we've scaled like
it's been
significantly.
Yeah, we definitely scaled, but in the moment, that was definitely not the right thing to do, because it just added more to my plate, and I just feel overwhelmed sometimes because I'm over here trying to playing catch up to play catch up. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always feel like I was like constantly behind and just trying to catch up. And when I did catch up, there was more to do because I was already playing from the backfield. So now that I'm at a point that, you know, that we're both at the same level.
That you went to Costa Rica?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to Costa Rica to work though. Like we were there working. And
we were
very productive. We basically got down to a great schedule that even if I didn't want to go back to work right now, that everything would be functional.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
That was like a really big thing as far as our systems and stuff like that. But not only that, I consulted like some of the guys that are important to me and have been in business like with their spouse and things like that. And I asked them like for advice as to how I should like speak to you and be considerate of you, because like for me, I get things and they're like, but when it comes to how you are understanding information, you like understand it in layers. And I'm like a macro type person. Like I just need to know what the vision is, like what exactly you want to happen. But for you, you're like, oh no, I need to understand like all these things.
Yeah, I'm a day-to-day, you know, the little bitty, small, teeny tiny parts that I need to understand all the way to the core. That way I feel confident enough to actually implement it or try to explain it to somebody else.
Yeah, that's true. And I remember just being on the phone with them and I was just like crying because I was like, I feel so bad. I know there's a rift. I know there's a disconnect. And this is a part in Costa Rica that I actually got a lot of healing. It was because they were just like, yeah, you just need to make sure that you understand what his strengths are and what he really wants to do. And like at that point I was like, this is another place in my life where I'm setting like my expectations on other people. And then as a leader, like developing into a leader, you don't want, you know, to expect somebody else to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. But for me, I was just like, you know, figure it out type stuff. And it's like, figure what out? You don't even know.
And this one, you have to take into consideration the other person's feelings, especially if the person has been telling you this constantly. Just give me some time. Let me look at it. And I'm going to get to it, but not on your time frame because I'm trying to piece it all together how I need to learn it personally.
Yeah, so let's pivot from that as far as feelings. I feel like I could be like kind of rash concerning feelings. Other people's feelings, especially men, because I grew up with 3 brothers and the way they communicated with me was just like roughhousing, like, none of the emotional stuff. So when I see you like having feelings and stuff now, I'm just like, yeah, it's kind of like a rough house, like, just shake it off and things like that. How has that worked or how has that felt for you?
Man, I grew up with 3 brothers, 2 and 1 sister, but on those ends of the rough house and how you portray your feelings to me, it doesn't bother me. Not at all.
That's what I'm saying. Digging into the feelings, like feelings has come up several times for you. Could you clarify when you say, considering other people's feelings and what they have going on and things of that sort? What do you mean by feelings? Like, in what way should I or like we as women be more considerate of our spouses that are going out and working? Like, what do you mean as far as the feelings? What is your expectation?
Oh, you're trying to pivot to something else. Okay, cool. Well, you need to take in consideration. This is just an example. All right. Let's just say somebody gets up and goes make something to eat in the kitchen, just randomly. And they come back with 1 sandwich. Well, the other person's like, man, I'm hungry too. I wish the other person would have came back with 2 sandwiches and the drinks and some chips. That way we both can eat.
You are really funny. You are hilarious. Because, like, what? Like,
that's just being considerate of the other person.
We know being considerate, but like, answer the question. If you are saying that, the person needs to be considerate of your feelings, what is the expectation that they do to console those feelings? Or what would you rather them come into the conversation with? Or
you just have to know how the other person learns and their behavior. That's all that is.
So specify it like between us. Okay. How would you have preferred? I want about that interaction with you.
Oh, not being as aggressive for one thing. Sometimes you come at me too hard. I'll be trying to tell you to back off. You're coming in too strong. Secondly, that just ease into it. Just let me know what I need to do. Don't try to boss me around. First of all, you're not my boss. Yeah. So don't try to boss me around. Just like, we're partners. So just present it to me in a way that, all right, cool. I know if I come at him this way, he's going to take it a certain way that I'm just trying to come at him. Just like, all right, Ty, I'm going to walk you through this real quick. Then I'm going to let you do your own thing. Try to figure it out.
I think the hardest thing about like walking you through, I didn't know how to walk you through. I hadn't done the work, which is how we got into like a bad partnership. Because it was just like, I know I want the outcome, right? I know that I want to sell $30,000 a month and get the profits from that. But I don't know exactly what I need to do or what that's going to take. So, hey, I need you to figure this out and I'll figure this out. But like for you, you're like, from what I'm hearing, you're saying you would prefer if I figured it out first, gave you the steps and then, gave you an opportunity to execute.
I feel like if you're presenting me with something, that means I feel like that you've gone through some steps and tried to figure something out. Figure something out already. So I want to know the information that you have. That way I can build on what you already have. So if you're giving me something from ground zero, now let me know what you already have. That means I need to go through my own thought process, which I'm starting from ground zero. That means I'm going back and do my own research. And I can't get to where you are until I do my research and get all the way caught up because I don't know where you're at. You just hand me a blank sheet of paper and be like, hey, do this, dog.
I do. Because I'll be feeling like I went through all that work and you can figure it out too. But as you're saying now, it's such a waste of time.
You can't say you went through all that work because that was your part. That was your portion. If I was That was my 100% job at the time. All right, that's what I'm gonna devote my time to. But me coming out straight out the classroom or from work or whatever, coming home and you hand me just a blank sheet of paper and be like, hey, do this right now and get back to me in about 45 minutes. I'm gonna look at you crazy and I'm like, she's smoking rocks.
Yeah. No, I could definitely see how that happens, because sometimes I feel like in whatever you do that you can't necessarily give pieces of the pie to people, because it needs to go through the process and figure out how you ascertain this information. So once they have to go through the process again, they would be stronger in doing that. But there is a couple of, pros and cons to both situations. But at the same time, if you already have the leg up, the same way for your child, if you already have the leg up, tell them, like, give them game, give them that leg up. I think in that and being reflective of that, and this was like last month, so this is like definitely not, 5 years ago or nothing like that. But thinking about it from that angle, I'm glad we've had this conversation, because it's a lot like when kids grow up and their families are like rich, but they don't want to like give them anything. Well, what was the point in doing all that work? What was the point in saying this is for a legacy, or this is to be left to the family, if you're going to make the person go back to square one? I don't feel empowered in having a partnership with you, because what are you here for type thing. If I have to go from ground zero, then what is your contribution, as you just said? So that's good. That's good perspective building. In that regard, how would you feel as far as Gabe and his upbringing? Would you want him to have that leg up, like have a house, going into college and staying there? Or do you feel like he needs to work a little more for what he's going to be getting?
Nah, you can have a different starting point. I mean, you can have a house going into college. That's his starting point. His starting point is not our starting point.
Right. So, no. It's definitely not. You want to talk about our starting point?
No, we're not going to talk about our starting
point.
Yeah,
that's a whole new episode.
Where he is at in his life is like way far ahead of where we started at. So it wouldn't be fair for us to even try to present him, all right, get out the house and go figure it out.
What's really interesting is the fact that we like stay with your brother. We're like crashing with your brother for a couple months before we rent a place in Atlanta and then buy another house next year, our second home. What's really interesting is the fact that we still think that we're way further ahead in life. And I think it's interesting because, it's true. But if it were somebody looking from the outside in, it's like you're crashing with your brother.
Everybody crashes with their in-laws. This is just a landing spot for us before we get our own place, because we're just coming from Costa Rica. Yeah, so we definitely need a place to put all our stuff at, and who better to stay with than family? Yeah.
Do you feel like fish out of water, or do you feel like we've done this before, so it's a little bit less unnerving than it would be like on the first time or something like that?
Yeah, it's the same process: wash, rinse, and repeat. You got the formula. Don't try to tweak the formula. We got the secret sauce. Just keep on spreading that sauce everywhere.
What is the secret sauce?
If I say what the secret sauce is, it's not a secret no more.
Okay, let me put it like this. What is the secret sauce going on? What is the intended destination?
The intended destination. Well, like you said, house, growing the business, scaling up. I'm just going to put it on everything until we get to where we're comfortable at. Right now, we're not comfortable. So you just keep on doing what you're doing until you get to a comfortable state.
Yeah. So, being considerate to your spouse, it requires so many different things. But I think one of the things that is really important is figuring out what that person is passionate about and how it translates to the business. I personally don't even know what I'm passionate about. I mean, I know, like, I'm passionate about business, like all aspects of business, understanding how your person can be like, quantum leaped, you being professionally developed, things of that sort. Really don't watch sports, like I read, but like how that translates to improving the business. Like you said, I'm really bossy, but I'm also realizing that you need to know the systems before you can onboard another person. Like that's important. You can't just have something like, hey, I need you to make $50,000 for me this month. Go and do, which is kind of what I was doing, like fly by the wheel before. But I was taking more accountability and realizing that there needs to be an onboarding process, you know, a couple months of training sort of thing, and then, you know, out on their own and able to fly after they've seen it. What about you? What would you say your passions are that kind of translate to the business?
Well, I could just say, you know, just hard work. I mean, usually I put forth sweat and blood into my hard work, but now that we're transitioning to our own business and it's like mostly online, so that's more of research based and trying to get down all the steps. That way somebody else can implement it. So basically the SOPs, which I'm currently working on, but you just have to learn how to shift gears of learning how what you were good at into something that you could potentially be good at if I'm putting it the right way.
I mean, you don't have to be like, people feel like you got to be a skilled marksman to start a business. Like a lot of the stuff you learn through experience or something, like crashing or somebody coming onto the podcast or asking to be a guest for the podcast. And you're like, how do I send that link? Oh,
yeah, trial and error. Like with tactical arbitrage, like I started off with it, and now that I'm getting better and better at finding more products that are profitable, and it's just research. So it's just using what you're good at, and just using it in a different way. Like I like watching anime. So it takes a while to can find a great anime to watch. So if I can use my researching skills to find something good to watch on anime into the tactical arbitrage and Keepa or anything else, any other apps that we're using, then it's all gravy, baby.
You know, I was thinking about that because I play like phone games, and that's literally the only games. Like I do not like playing games, but I play
8,000. You play a lot of phone games.
Whoa. I am on level 8,000, but it's only on one particular game because no game before that was I even care about any of that. But in this particular game, I am like so persistent. I persevere. It is really interesting. But I was thinking about the game and just our tolerance for risk and investments and things like that. And every single time I have some coins, I'm just like, I know I'm gonna get it back. So let me go ahead and charge this to the game. Even though you be down bad for a couple of days, you know you're going to get it back. You know it's going to flip back or something like that. So I was just like, dang, this is really how like real money is. Like I really be playing the game and thinking about ways that it applies to real money, because I could like use my coins and I could use it to like beat that level. Or I could use my coins to get more lives, right? Mm-hmm. Which one do you do more? Because he plays the same phone game.
I'm on level 4,000 though, so
yes.
I use my coins to beat the level. That's why I'm always broke.
Exactly. And I was just like, when you are in the moment, are you going to use your coins to come out of the situation, or are you going to use your money to start all the way over?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm using money to get out of the situation.
I'm getting money to sit there. Like, would you, for everything that we have experienced, would you rather, you know, would you rather use the money and like pay off the debt that we have and like keep on having it accumulate? Or would you rather go back to 2014 and like start with a blank slate?
No, I would rather use the money that we're accumulating right now. I don't want to go back to 2014. It's the lesson that you learn throughout the process of becoming who you are.
I would never go back. Like people are like, I saw this one meme and it was saying, would you take like the red pill and you can go back 10 years, or would you take the blue pill and have $1 million? I was like, I don't understand why people like going back in the past. Like, I understand the person I was at that moment. I understand that I'm no longer that person, and I don't want to go back and do it again. Like, who wants to go back and do it again?
But to flip that and just keep on going.
You know what's really funny? Like, people talk about flipping money, and I'm just like, dog, you can do that now. Mm-hmm. All of this stuff. Would you go and live in a log cabin, or would you rather go and live in Hawaii for a year if you gave up your phone and all that? You can give up your phone and the electronics and stuff and go live in a log cabin now. You might be homeless, but if you set up your business, after 5 years and you automate it, you can do that. Why is that so far-fetched to people?
Anything you want, just go, get up and go. Just get up and go.
But I do think we had to have that bad partnership so that we could see like how much money was really in it.
I mean, yeah, it was bad, but everything is a learning process. Everything is the process. We pulled a lot of good information out of it too, though.
For real.
Like I'm not gonna knock the person, but yeah, we got a lot of information out of it.
They just really didn't have any systems in place for the type of scaling to happen, and then it was like a mess with customer service, and then we got suspended. We had to get suspended like 5 times within like having a partnership with them for like 5 months. It was just ridiculous, but like I said, it was a good experience.
It broke even, matter of fact, with the partnership.
Yeah,
we didn't lose or gain money. It was just, it's like we would have did better off just doing what we're already doing.
Yeah.
Relying on yourself is always the best.
But the crazy thing was, we spent so much money, like so much credit card money, and I was just like, why are we getting back $2,000 and we spent $80,000? Like, that's how out of touch we were with the numbers. That's how passive we were. And sometimes you could say, oh, well, you got something back and you really didn't have to do much. No, we were still working. We were still working on our accounts. We were still trying to keep up. We were still trying to make sure that we could send in items for a profit when they were on the other side, like doing things and got our account suspended and stuff. So it was like, I don't even know what that margin is. Like, for $60,000 getting like $2,000 back, bro, it's unheard of, because right now we just spent $20,000 Walmart and Amazon, and we got back $4,700.
10% of 60,000 is 6,000. So
it's not even 10%.
It's like probably like 2% or 2.3% or something like that.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. Even with them having their half, it was still bad. I'm like, what are we getting per item? Like 1 cent, 8 cents? Like, it's just ridiculous.
That's the research part. Like,
yeah,
that's the research. It's a research game. Like, you do your research, you find profitable items, the 20, 30, 40% ROI, get it out there.
And now we're plugged in. Now we know what to do. So it was a hard pill to swallow. And I think a lot of that, what contributed to that was all of the chaos that was going on in our lives. It was like, literally, now that I think about it, now that everything is cleared up, we have a clear mind frame and things like that. So much has opened up for us. Like the systems, and the reality is, like, I've never felt like my brain has been clearer, because even in going into the profession that we were in, teaching, it was not clear then, because we knew we didn't want to be teachers, but we also knew we didn't want to be unemployed.
I feel like we have more ownership of our own business. I know it's kind of weird saying, but we feel like an actual boss now.
Yeah.
Like I feel like an actual owner that, we're like knee, waist, I'm chest deep in it now.
Yeah. And it's similar to the game. It's like I know my risk tolerance. I know if I have two moves left and I have like five, squares left. I might just step back from that one. I might just quit the level and be like, all right, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna reassess. So if I get in too deep and I realize that I've spent too much money, like the 60,000 was too much, we weren't able to scale and like make money from that, then going into the next month we would be like, okay, let me reassess. Maybe we did good on 40, we need to knock it back down to 50 and like figure out what was the difference between those two. We might just have to take a L on that level and then come back, reassess, and try it again. But for that, I'm just like, it's good perspective wise, because I was just telling my friends this in our text messages that we need to focus on like self-care and what are some things that you've done for self-care. And one of the things that I said that I've done for self-care is like, be consistent, be dependable. What I realized about myself and that I didn't really like it that much, and I realized that I had to change it, was the fact that I wasn't consistent. I did not follow through, and I wasn't reliable in that way. Like if I felt, or if I woke up and I felt a certain way, anything could change. And it didn't matter. I didn't have to be consistent or considerate in any manner whatsoever. I was just like, whatever. I woke up every single day with no intention whatsoever and was just like, whatever I feel like. But now I feel like I'm showing self-care to myself by being consistent, intentional, like consistent with the podcast, consistent with loving on my friends, like working out and things like that. So I like that.
Being positive.
Yeah. I feel so good about myself. Like I know that I'm not what they say, like flaky, and I'm building that in as a new reality for myself, because previously I was flaky. Whatever I felt like doing, or didn't feel like doing, I wouldn't do. But sometimes it's just in moving. When you move and you figure out, all the pieces will come together.
Flaky like a biscuit.
Boy, how have you been practicing self-care?
I've always been consistent, every day, all day.
How have you been practicing self-care? Not in context of what I've done, just you independently.
I don't know what you mean by self-care.
Dang, that's a whole nother topic, y'all. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by self-care. Like, men don't take care of themselves?
I do take care of myself. I just, I don't go get pedicures anymore, or manicures. I'm sorry. I don't have to go get my hair cut anymore because, bald, so I don't have to do that anymore. I'm working on growing my beard out, so I guess that can be self-care. But everything else, I cook, I clean. Those things make me happy.
That's good. So, in the topic of being considerate, I see that you are running out of gas. He's not much of a talker. So that is going to be it today from us guys on this podcast session about being considerate in your business. Any advice you want to give to the guys that are thinking about or in business with their wife and trying to find ways to be considerate?
Hey, just keep loving on your wife and just do what she says, and it'll all be all right.
That's not true, because we don't even have it figured out. You just talked about you not being comfortable with me telling you what to do.
Yeah. You're right. Just talk to each other. That's your best bet. And just sit down and have a business meeting like once a week.
Oh my gosh, that's such good advice. We started having a business meeting like once a week, and it has cleared up so much tension. And we're having an agenda, all that's going to be perfect for our project manager when she comes on. So for me, as far as like being a wife, and the advice I would give to someone that is in a business relationship with their spouse is to just make sure that you are doing or have done whatever you're asking someone else to do. And it sounds so cliche, but it's so true. Like, I could tell you to go climb a mountain right now, but until I've climbed the mountain, do I know the proper expectation? And until I climb the mountain, do I know the layers that are going to go into that, the type of preparation that's going to have to go into that, and how much time it's going to take? If you go into a business relationship with no context as to what you're expecting to happen, there was all types of like walls in place, blow ups. Like, I'm like, what you mean? You don't understand what you mean? And he's like, I don't think you understand. Like,
Also, if you feel like there's one person that's doing way more than the other person, you definitely need to sit down and have a conversation. Because if one of you guys feel like that, the other person is probably feeling the same way, and you just need to clear up the air.
Clear the air. Clear the air. Not our mic though, you know. We ain't big bottling like that. But yeah, those are our ending notes. This episode is brought to you by Beyond Ecommerce, where we find and fund your purpose through e-commerce. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.